Something funny happens when you dangle representation in front of audiences. They just lose their fucking minds.
And you mean negatively or positively? Or both?
No, people just lose all ability to like judge something on its merits.
This case. No answers. Should send this thing back to Anchorage.
Hey, Chief. What's this?
The best indicators of great storytelling is like having to explain it to everyone after it's over. And what really irritated me is there's like Issa Lopez, the writer of this. She's posting on her Twitter account like all these links of her interviews with like Los Angeles Times and Rolling Stone. And it's just all of her explaining every loose end that the show didn't wrap up because the writing was terrible. But the funny thing is over on Twitter and Reddit is that if you didn't like this show, if you have any criticism of it whatsoever, you are just a white man who hates women, hates representation, and just didn't understand what this series was trying to do. Conversely, if you like it, you're... I don't hate women. I thought the acting in this was the strongest part of this.
From what I saw too, yeah, I would agree.
Yeah,
and the setting was awesome.
Cinematography was good.
Jodie Foster's a legend. She's a legend in the industry for a reason. Callie Ray, I wasn't familiar with her before this. I hope I pronounced that right. She was great in it. Some of the supporting cast were pretty good. But the writing was just not good. Me saying that does not mean that, like, oh, I didn't understand. There's nothing to understand. Everything they built up, like, went nowhere. So basically what happened, Annie was a activist against this, like, mining company working here in this town of Venice. Their pollution was causing stillbirths and, like, all this stuff.
America.
And Annie was dating one of the Salal researchers. And she discovered that the researchers, they were like drilling into the ice trying to like find harvest like ancient DNA. It's the most ambiguous like umbrella thing that they could be doing as scientists. Like we're just extracting things from the ice. So anyhow, it turns out that these scientists discovered that the pollution of the mining facility made digging in the ice easier. They don't explain why. You would just assume it was like melting the ancient ice that's billions of years old or something. I don't know.
Something about the toxins allowed their research to progress farther too, because they were trying to save humanity.
They didn't explain how it could save humanity. They didn't explain what it would do to humanity. Just that they had this magic thing that they could get out of the ice. And then the pollution made it easier for them to do that.
Pollution propaganda.
Annie, she uncovered this because she's a detective or something. And then when she found out about all this, she destroyed years and years of research. And the researchers overheard her and began murdering her in a fit of rage.
Oh. Yeah.
They just murder her in this like ridiculous thing. Then we get the second tier revelation of how the men died. The local women who were the cleaning ladies who worked for this facility, they were forensic scientists also. And aside from being cleaning ladies, and they actually discovered how Annie died. And because they were all local indigenous women, they banded together to get revenge on the research men. And they stormed the facility one night with guns and cut the power, and they forced them into the back of a truck. They drove them out onto the frozen ocean, stripped them naked, and sent them off into the darkness to freeze to death. And that's the big finale.
Would you have gotten out of the truck, Dan?
No, shoot me. Like, I'm not going to freeze.
Shoot
I ain't freezing to death.
What are you saying?
Like, I'm not
Just
getting
shoot
out.
me.
But also, this was an episode of Monk where cleaning ladies were like the killers. My complaints are not about the fact that this shows like strong women like getting vengeance on the men. Like, that's all fine and cool. But it was not written good. It just wasn't. I'm sorry to tell you this. It wasn't good. None of the characters were really written that well. None of the subplots were written well. And the one central theme of the whole 6 episodes is that Annie's death connected to all this. You're supposed to give a shit that Annie died. And you're supposed to give a shit that she didn't get justice. And you don't, because you don't learn anything about Annie other than 2 facts. 1 is that she was an activist, and 2 is that she was a midwife. That's it.
That's it, yeah.
Do we learn anything about the folklore? No. Do we learn anything about Annie other than those 2 facts? No. Do we learn anything about anything that the show presented to us? No. We just get this like moody, really cool setting in Alaska during its month-long night, and that's it. And then here we are like from what I can gather on Twitter and Reddit, if you're a white liberal woman, you fucking love this shit. People are saying this is the best season of the show so far. They stuck the landing. The ending was incredible. And if you're a white conservative 4chan dude, you hated it. Once again, something is completely dominated by political, social, and cultural discourse, and the substance of the work is being completely missed. I don't know, but I'm starting to feel like that's the reason why content is being made these days, is to get conversations like this going. And that's it, because people are arguing about it. So some peon is going to see the and then go watch it. Yeah.
Engagement.
The premise had a lot of potential, and the acting was pretty good, but the story itself, because it was only 6 episodes, it was pretty mid.
It definitely dealt with some things that are interesting topics: mental health, generational trauma, the exploitation of indigenous people and their land.
Other shows have done all those things, and like even better in some cases.
Well, it's like we talked about
like Yellowstone.
Yeah, I was just gonna
exactly.
say. It's like we've talked about with Yellowstone. It handles those things well. Taylor Sheridan is good at that. You want to see a movie about indigenous women going missing and the government and law enforcement not taking it seriously even a little bit, or just ignoring it? Killers of the Flower Moon, Wind River. There are things that draw attention to these real issues that are better than this show. The show was just not written well. And again, if that's the message you wanted to convey, if you wanted to really like shine some light on this, well, okay, tell us about Anne. Make us care about Annie. Like, we don't know anything about her. She's just a background figure that died some point in time. And like the one detective is like, she's upset that they never solved it or whatever. It's like, it's such a shallow attempt to make you give a fuck about anything. So by the time the big reveal happens, like, well, I don't care that she died. Therefore, I don't care that there was revenge given to the group of men that killed her. I have no attachment to it whatsoever. So I'm just watching this thing play out that's like, what? Previously in the episode, there is a conversation between Danvers and Navarro, and Danvers says, hey, if you take off again, like, come back. And it was her way of saying, like, hey, if you kill yourself, come back to me as a ghost, the way that you see ghosts. There was this like overarching like thing that Navarro had about her character, where like something's calling to her and she believes in the afterlife and she doesn't quite know what it is, but it called to her sister and made her kill herself. It called to her mom and made her kill herself. It's mental illness, and it calls to her. And by the end, you see her just like walking off into like no man's land as if she's going to kill herself. So there's this like weird ending thing that like kind of glorifies suicide. That felt a little bit weird. I don't know if you felt that way too, Dusty.
Yeah, it was weird.
It felt a little bit like romanticizing suicide. But the last shot is Navarro on the porch with Danvers, and you don't know if it's a ghost or if it's real. The writer says, I think that the entire series has 2 readings. One of them is that everything is connected to the supernatural. The other one is that there's absolutely nothing supernatural happening. It's up to you to decide which of those readings you're going to embrace. No, it's up to you as a writer to pick a lane and flesh out the story.
Right. Yep.
The reason I'm so irritated about this is we've talked about this a lot. It's like ambiguous endings and ambiguous stuff. When done right, it could be a very effective writing tool.
Yeah, they'll just gloss over everything and make you wonder whatever the fuck.
She's basically saying it's like, it could be anything. I don't know. You decide. Well, I'm not the fucking writer. I didn't write the show. Last thing I wanted to talk about, too, regarding this is all the callbacks to season 1. Because they were jammed into your throat. And not even like a slightly like sneaky way, okay? And here are all the references. The Tuttle Foundation is the one that was financing the mining facility, that was financing the Salal research. The Tuttle Group is the family of politicians and preachers from the Louisiana Bayou. Why were they here? Who the fuck knows? She even says that. She says, if we need to have like a secret group financing something, why not the Tuttles? It's a True Detective series. Might as well throw it in. Second callback, Rust calls father. In season 1, Rust mentions several times that he grew up in Alaska. Okay. Well, his dad was the ghost that the pothead lady was seeing on the ice, right? That helped her discover the bodies. Yeah. Okay. Cool little callback. Rust is from Alaska. This takes place in Alaska. Fine. Whatever.
Right.
The spiral? The spiral were the markings from the first season. It was the calling card of this group of people that worshipped a mysterious place called Carcosa and the Yellow King. That was like their symbology. Why did it end up in this season? Who knows? We don't get an explanation. Why is it there? Just because it happened in the first season. Okay. And then the final callback that was the most egregious was Clark in this episode, this finale, saying, time is a flat circle. Why the fuck did he say that? What did it have to do with that conversation? Other than the fact that it's the most famous line from the first season. So she says here's her explanation. Here's the thing. I never set out like, oh, let's put everything we can that references season 1. I believe the idea of letting the story speak to you. I decided that Alaska was a super interesting setting for this series. I rewatched season 1 and I realized Russ Cole's father had lived and died in Alaska. It would have been crazy to never mention it. It's the same universe. There's a corporation that is funding the endeavors of a greedy machine that is lying about pollution. In season 1, there's an evil corporation too. It would be silly to have two different ones.
Would it?
When there's a symbol in my season that signifies the proximity of a different level of reality, the supernatural, and there is a symbol for that in the first season, so why add in a new one? That
no
just makes it
connection.
not True Detective. Yeah, so let's just arbitrarily throw it in. I was enjoying the series up until this point. Yes, it had its issues. It had its weaknesses.
4 was
That's
a
a
little
shame.
slow for me. 5 was a good pickup, and then 6 was like, this is how we're gonna end it. Okay.
And I guarantee you we're going to get comments on this video about like, I'm a season 1 bro. I'm a season 1 fanboy. I'm sorry to break it to you, but like, as I've said many times, season 1 is one of the best seasons of television ever made.
Right. Not just this show.
Right. Of all shows ever to exist.
Right.
And because they decided to slap the title of True Detective on it, which probably isn't her fault, to be fair. I guarantee you that was like an HBO executive decision. Be like, hey, make this True Detective season 4. You're now suffering under the weight of having to compare it to season 1 because it's a True Detective season. So deal with it, man. And also, go back and watch season 1. Michelle Monaghan's character, Maggie, is a strong woman. So this isn't like about women, and I don't like women, and I don't like strong women, and I need to identify with women. The writing was bad, plain and simple.
It is what it is.
It just is what it is.
I mean, it's pretty clear, Dan. You're just an alt-right cis white male.
Yeah, basically I am. I just hate.
We've discovered the truth.
I hate women. Can't stand them.
I feel like she's saying, like, it's not like I just pulled all this stuff from True Detective just to do it, but I feel like she
But
kind of
you did.
roped herself into like doing that because the story had potential, but I felt like it got pulled down by trying to do all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
That was unnecessary.
I
Let
do
it stand
think-
on its own. Tell your own story.
I don't mind connecting it. Season 3 connected it slightly to the first one, but like very little, just to give you a little bit of like, that's interesting. And it was
Make
great.
it subtle.
It was subtle and great, and it didn't overwhelm the season. These callbacks did because they didn't go anywhere.
Right.
And I think the most
It was just
egregious of the callbacks is the spiral because it's symbology. It like doesn't make any sense to even be here.
Did they show that in like the very first episode?
I think so. Yeah, it was on all. It was
Yeah,
on the
it was definitely
forehead.
bait.
Yeah, it was on the head, and then they found the stone,
and the women
then
left
there
it.
there was the orange peel, and
Right.
then there was was that like a whale scale in the ice?
Yeah, I don't know what that was. That was like a whale's bones in the ice in the shape of a spiral.
Like there was so many
Oh,
swirl
yeah.
references,
Yeah.
Marvin. It's insane.
That's
So-
definitely bait then. They just
The women put it on the
Really?
foreheads of the men. You get the sense that it's like a symbol of their culture that goes back. And that's like the one loose connection to the symbol in the first season, which is that like in the first season, everything is perpetuated by this group of like hillbilly Louisiana swamp people that go back generations and they make stick things and like they're into the occult. So that's like
Right.
the only slight connection. It's just ancient symbology. Whatever. I mean, it is what it is. Very
you got baited.
disappointing.
It is what it is.
I was very
It's
disappointed.
egregious bait, but yeah.
I'm very disappointed in the season because I had high hopes for it. The characters just needed to be fleshed out better. I think they were trying to do a little bit too much. Pick a central story element and then flesh that out. They didn't do any of those, things. Final analysis. Representation does not automatically make a project great. The story trumps
yeah,
all.
obviously.
Okay?
Yeah.
And that's that. Okay? Don't devalue people's opinions because they have some like legitimate criticisms of this. That's all.
Yep.
And if you don't like this because it represents strong female characters, you're a moron. Okay, so
Yep.
there's that too. But the acting, A+. I think the directing was an A+. Writing was a D for me. Lazy as fuck. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of True Detective. But be cool about it. Don't just say I didn't get it. That's dumb. Save that for Twitter. I'm not interested in that bullshit. I got it. It's not that deep. Okay.